Chatting to Nick Holmes from Paradise Lost. Nick, thanks for taking my call.
Cheers, yeah, nice to meet you. Cheers, thanks.
It's good to chat to you. Hey, now, back 1990, I was hosting a heavy metal show here in Adelaide and actually remember playing stuff off Lost Paradise.
Right, yeah. Well, that's the one. Yeah, I think it's 30 years anniversary around now.
What do you remember from that time?
It's not massively dissimilar to now, really. I mean, there was a lot more kind of going out drinking than there is now, particularly now. It was a great time. We were young kids playing music we loved. Everything was about music. Everything we did was about music from the minute we went to bed to the minute we got out of bed. It was all heavy metal, everything. So it was a good time.
Got a new album coming out very soon. We'll get to that in a moment. But 32 years now, with the exception of one position in the band, you've had a stable lineup for that long. That's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we started the band as friends. We were all kind of guys hanging out into the same music. We hooked up from a mutual love of the music that we were into. It was very sort of humble beginnings. So, we put the band together because we were so passionate about it, and it's also we have a good laugh, we have a lot of fun together, so it's, I guess, it was a pretty good combination for more of a long-term type thing, I mean, there's ups and downs in everything in life, but, it's drummers aside, it's been quite, it's been pretty consistent, really.
Speaking of drummers, how's the new guy, in air quotes, how's the new guy working out for you?
He's great, yeah. He's young. He's only 25. We have children older than he is, but he's working out great. Yeah, he's been in a few years now, but he lives in Helsinki. But it's not really. It doesn't really matter these days. It's file sharing, etc., etc. It doesn't have to kind of live in the next house. So, Walter he's a brilliant drummer. He's incredibly versatile. And for his age, he's such a confident, quality player for his age. I think he's got a big career ahead of him.
Okay, 3 years since the previous album, which is about right these days. How did that album go for you?
Really good. I mean, the time seems to fly when you start doing, you release the album, do promotion, then release it, then you tour it for, depending on how many times you go to America, that usually takes up a lot of time. I think we went once on the last album. It takes about 3 years, and before you know it, you're back again, waiting to do another one. It goes incredibly fast. It's hard to explain how fast it goes because it's like the blink of an eye. It really is.
Tell me about it. Did you have any time off between the end of the touring cycle and starting on the new album?
Yes, I mean, if you're doing summer festivals, you don't stay out on the road for the whole week. You kind of fly in on the Friday and maybe go home on the Monday. So, and if you're doing one every weekend, you got time at home in between there. You got a few days here and there. I think we did maybe a 7-week tour, which was a long tour actually. We sort of maybe thinking about doing that in 2 halves in the future. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, you'd get a lot of time at home in between. It's not like you solid blocks away for months and months and months, so it's, you can always get back home. So
tell us about the new album. It's called Obsidian, coming out on the 15th of May. When did we start getting into album mode?
We started recording in I think it was November and December. So it was probably the beginning of the year last year we started writing it. So it takes about 9 or 10 months to write this album. But yeah, it was pretty much, we get told when they're looking at doing another album, then we sort of work to that as a kind of deadline type affair. So, but yeah, we just always use the last album as a kind of benchmark and as to where we're going to go from, with the next one, and start writing and see where we end up,
Now you mentioned Helsinki and file sharing. Was that how this album was recorded? Was he over there? You guys were all elsewhere? How did it go?
No, he flew over to record it. But as far as writing goes, yeah, I mean, I write, Greg McIntosh and myself write the songs, and we bounce them backwards and forwards, and everything's kind of done via, sort of, we meet up when we play live or we rehearse. We don't meet up any other time. We don't live anywhere near each other, so it's, it's not like we can kind of pop around to each other's houses or anything. Yeah, it's the file sharing sort of techniques is something we've done for the last probably 15 years, I think, maybe longer than that now.
The first track, Darker Thoughts, started the album off in a different way than I was expecting. Caught me a bit off guard, but that's my favourite track from the album. Tell us about your favourites. Tell us about the whole album. How did you go? Stories behind the songs?
I mean, that song came about quite spontaneous. I mean, a lot of the songs you can bounce them backwards and forwards for days or even weeks, and they just don't gel. And eventually they do. But that one Darker Thoughts was originally going to be an intro because Greg wrote the acoustic part at the beginning, and it was just going to be an intro. And then I actually came up with a melody line for it, and then we kind of built on that to the second half of the song when it goes heavier. And then it was quite spontaneous, and we both agreed on everything right from the word go. It was quite a nice, and it was one of the last songs we wrote as well. So it came together really well. And like you say, I mean, as it starts, it's quite a different way of starting an album for us. So that's another reason why it's probably one of my favourite songs as well, in that regard. And then, I mean, song Fall from Grace is the second song. That was the first song we wrote for the entire album, and it's very reminiscent of the last album. I'd say it could have been on the Medusa album, perhaps. But again, we decided to release it as a first single because it's very typical kind of very heavy Paradise Lost type vibe to it, and it kind of represents the new album quite well, I think, even though it's quite an eclectic album overall, I think,
Indeed it is. Now, these are very strange times that we're living in. What's going on at the moment, has that affected the band in any way directly?
Well, I mean, it's the same with everybody. I mean, it's the live situation because nobody knows when we're going to be out there playing live again. I mean, if I was being pessimistic, I'd say 2021, which is what I keep hearing off some of my friends in other bands. But we're sort of aiming at September. I mean, as soon as we can do it, we'll be out there, and it's the same with everyone, I guess. I don't think waiting to release albums is necessary. I think we're still releasing on the 15th of May this year. I mean, I don't see the point in delaying that. People are at home, they can listen to the album, they can get into it and play it as long as they have electricity. There's nothing to stop that happening. But playing live is it's a problem for everyone at the moment. But I think everyone's on pause, and once the pause button pressed again, I think everyone's going to be going crazy for live music. I think it's going to be mad out there.
All touring plans are off at this stage. I've been speaking to some bands, and they've started to get things ready for the end of the year. I mean, whether that's a bit presumptuous or not, only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to set yourself some goals just to try and be positive about it. I just think, let's just forget it till next year. I don't think that's particularly. It's not helpful for any of us, really. I mean, we're looking at playing. We're doing like a launch gig, even though it's 6 months after the launch. But we're looking at a launch gig in Leeds, which is close to our hometown in UK, on the 17th of September. So that's whether we will play before that, I don't know. But but yeah, I mean, festivals are dropping off all the time. We've lost probably. PL have probably lost probably about 8 shows already. Potentially. But it's the same for everyone. It's just it's just a shit state of affairs.
You mentioned the first single, Fall from Grace. What's planned next in that regard?
This is a toss up between two songs. I mean, we're trying to kind of do a video. Even doing the video is because you can't go outside, so it's kind of other than going for necessary reasons. So yeah, we're trying to kind of get a video together from footage we've got from other things. So yeah, that's the next thing. But we're not even sure which video we're going to do as a video yet. So probably not a great deal I can say about that, to be honest.
Are you in full lockdown over there?
Not 100%, but it's kind of frowned upon if you're seen driving around. I mean, we can go out to the shops and get essential supplies, but if you're kind of on the main road in your car, people are kind of giving you strange looks, and yeah, it's not full lockdown, but it's definitely a lot quieter, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I live quite rural where I am, so it's quite a quiet area anyway. But I haven't been to the city since any of this started, so I've no idea what it's going to be like there. But yeah, this the kind of all the car parks, they've kind of cordoned them off and things, so you can't go up. So it stops the day trippers coming over and things. So yeah.
Hey, how important was it getting on Nuclear Blast?
It's great. I mean, everyone that works there, they're enthusiastic. They're into the bands they're working with. It's a very rock metal label, which is, I think, it's very important for, if you're a metal band, to be on a metal label. The people that are, working on the stuff, they're actually into the music they're working with. So yeah, it's been great. I mean, it was great with Central Media as well. Likewise, there was still great group of people, but we just moved on to Nuclear Blast now. So
because you've label hopped a bit over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, we've always been quite lucky in that respect. We've always been able to do our own sort of thing. We haven't been told what sort of music we should be doing or anything, or we've always been quite lucky in that respect. We've always had a lot of, and we've been fortunate to work with a lot of really good people at labels. We started off at Peaceful Records. Yeah, we've had a few changes here and there in between. EMI is another one we were on for a while, which was a bit weird, but the last kind of 15, 20 years has been great, with label-wise.
Just been talking to Nick from Paradise Lost. They've got a new album, Obsidian, coming out on the 15th of May. So great to talk to you, Nick. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, cheers, man. Nice to speak to you. Thanks a lot.